if you say that the heart has a natural inclination to love, and sometimes I think we can love to extremes in a way, how do you know how to and when, I guess, to rein this in to make sure you don't overstep, for example, the boundaries of shirk, say, where we might kind of almost deify with love teachers or lovers or that kind of thing? Where do you draw that line?
In the next lesson, we probably will address that issue. The next lesson we'll talk more about what the heart does. The heart is often likened to a mirror. And again, the heart needs knowledge. Knowledge is not only its nourishment, knowledge is its lifeline. And among the most important types of knowledge is the criterion of right and wrong and good and bad. And therefore, in our religion, in our amazing religion, we have a lot of guidelines by which we know, for example, who are the guides and who are not. Who are the people whose company you should keep and who are the people whose company you shouldn't keep. And that's for the sake of your heart. Because your heart, especially when it's a good heart, it's going to have a good opinion of everybody. In fact, you probably think they're all like you. You know, when I became a Muslim, January 2nd, 1970, and I was enthusiastic. That's one of my problems. I'm a very enthusiastic person. And I wrote to all my friends. A lot of them were communists and socialists. We were revolutionaries. We were looking for the revolution in America and how we're going to save the world from the White House, right? And I wrote to them about the greatness of Islam. A lot of them never wrote back to me again in my life. Okay, so it's like you'll get this. I got it. You'll get it too, right? No, they don't get it at all. It's like, and in fact, I had to get the Communist Party to get me out of it. You know, it's like the Soviet Union kept sending me Soviet Life and these other things. And I had to tell them, like, what do I have to say to you? You know, so you don't send this to me anymore. But the heart is an attacher. The heart loves to attach. And the heart sees beauty in many things. Okay, and the heart does have this infinite capacity for love. And that's why it's very important, you know, that we have love in our lives. The most important love is the love of the mother for the child. Or we can say of the women for the child. You know, alhamdulillah, I had a loving, beautiful mother. And I thank God for that. And I had aunts and I had cousins. I had cousins that were like my aunts because they were as old as my father. And I had a great-grandmother who was the most incredible woman you can imagine. Loving woman, knowledgeable woman, born the year Lincoln was shot. You know, and she came west on a covered wagon. And she'd tell me all about it. And I'd say, what were you really frightened by in the covered wagons? And she would say, you'd never guess. I say, the Indians, never. Bandits, no, we had guns. And we could shoot. She used to carry, she was the first woman elected to public office in the state of Kansas. Maud Stevens, that's an old name. How many sisters do you know named Maud? Yeah, she was a Maud Stevens. You know, a beautiful woman. And she carried a pistol in her purse. And you better be careful, because she knows how to use it too. And she'd say, no, it's the rivers. Because we had to cross in the springtime and the rivers were full. And, you know, people were drowned, wagons were turned over and so forth. So these women are a really important part. Men are important too. But men don't really do what women can do, in my belief. The mother. You know, men are like and I had great men in my life, as many of you do as well, most of you. But, you know, the men are like, they tailor, right? They put on the touches. They don't do what your mother can do. So the love of the mother and the child, or the mother figures and the child, the love of husband and wife, that is absolutely essential. You know, that is what brings in the child incredible resources. My mother and father are two streams that come together in this heart, right? So that's a great gift, and you want to cultivate that in your life. Marriage is a big problem for us today, in the whole world, but especially in our Muslim societies. Shouldn't be like that. And then the love of our brothers and sisters in the path for the sake of Allah and the love of Allah. Okay, so these are amazing things. And if a person can't feel love, and we can't feel love for the Prophet, probably they won't go very far. In the dialect of some Arab countries, they say, "Man laysa fi qalbihi mahabba, la yusawi habba." You know that the one who doesn't have in his heart love is not worth a thing. So love is very important, and your question about shirk and so forth, maybe we can talk about that later. But again, this is why you have to get the right aqeedah. And we'll see when we come back to this lesson that one of the greatest harms to your heart of all, first is shahawat, uncontrolled passions. Passions have to be controlled. Passions have to be channeled. Okay, they have to be put in the right place. We don't get rid of them. You should be as passionate as you can be, okay, but in the right place. In the right place. But passions that are not channeled, those are very destructive. Most people are destroyed by that. And then the other thing are shubuhat, fallacies, fallacious beliefs, confusions. And this is one of the big problems in the Muslim world today, that we don't know what is what. And so we confuse things with other things. And we have people who think that the love of the Prophet is shirk, or the love of the awliya is shirk. No, it's like, you were supposed to learn that in basic aqeedah. What happened to you? Well, we didn't study basic aqeedah, did we? So, inshallah, may Allah, fill our hearts with light and knowledge so that you know what to look for.